Okay, so if you've gone through the basic and the first 20 videos of this course, you'll probably realise that we haven't used the cards and haven't interpreted reversals. So a reversal is if you imagine this card is the right way up, so when I take it, it's the right way up. A reversal would be when I take it and it's upside down, so the card is reversed upside down. Now, reversals are quite popular, and a lot of tarot readers do take into account whether the card, when they pull it, is pulled the right way up or upside down. However, not all of them do. So don't feel that you have to use reversals. If you do want to give reversals a go and interpreting reversals, then you need to make sure that some of your cards are actually reversed. So the way you can do that is really with the shuffle. So if you shuffle that, take one in one hand, one in the other, and twist like that, down, shuffle, 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 again, take one, twist, like that. Some of them will be the right way up, some of them won't. You want to do this a good amount of times. So do this quite a lot. Twist, and down, shuffling, shuffling, twist, and down, and shuffling more. Another way to do it, of course, is literally just to get them and just put them all like that. Just put them all around like this, and then they'll be a complete and utter mess. Now, you might not have a table in order to do that, so you might struggle with that, and it is kind of a little bit annoying. Some people can do this really well, some people can't do this very well. If you struggle with it, then what you could do again is just take the deck and build a couple of little piles like this, and then take them in smaller quantities and put them around, putting them together like that. But either way, reversals. So generally speaking, when a reversal comes up, most commonly people will think, so if we've got one land in the right way up, another land in the right way up, and then that one comes up upside down, we would interpret it as the opposite to what we interpret it the right way up. So if this is saying courage to me, and I would interpret that as courage, when it's upside down, I'm interpreting that as fear. Okay? So literally it is just a case of taking any card. So as this is fighting, then if it comes upside down, I'd interpret it as not fighting, being passive, you know, whatever. If this is happy, and I'm just getting a happy feel from it, then if it's upside down, I'd say that it's sad. It's the opposite. So when you're putting reversals into a reading, then you're going to interpret it as the opposite to how you would normally. Now, there's nothing wrong with, if something comes up reversed like that, me turning it the right way up just to see what impression I would get from it in general. So what impression am I getting from this? Well, I'm getting this person balancing and throwing out something out of a cup. So what am I interpreting that? Is balancing and spilling. Then if it's upside down, I might think of it as balancing but not spilling. So master of balancing. So I'd say that this person, if it's this way up, I might interpret it as this person's not very good at balancing their work life or what have you, whereas this time I might say, well, this person is quite good at balancing their work life. Now, you may be drawn to the idea of card reversals and using card reversals with your tarot cards and your spreads and stuff like that. At the end of the day, I can't tell you whether to use them or not. You've got to experiment. It's all about you. Now what I would say is with any new techniques and stuff like that, what tarot readers tend to do is get stuck in their ways, stuck in doing the same old thing over and over again. So it is nice to try new things out. And when you try a new skill out or something like that, practice makes perfect. So if you are used to using, you know, tarot cards the right way up, and you start to do this for the first time, then it will feel strange and you won't quite get the hang of it. But the point is that obviously you keep going with it, okay? And it can show up a lot of information. Some people will say that it shows up a lot of information, you know. So if you are doing, for example, the Celtic cross, something like that, you know, it may be difficult for you to put that one because it's sideways down and think, well, wait a minute, which way up is it supposed to go again? That sort of thing. You know, because it's a sideways one with the Celtic cross in there, so if it goes that way. So normally what I would do with these, because I tend to read things as a whole, so like when we went back to the video of what do? Do we put the cards like this, face down, or do we put the cards, as we're putting them down, face up? Do we go for it methodically one by one? In which case you've got to be careful, am I holding it that way and going that way, or am I holding it that way and going that way? You know, it's one of those things which it depends. Unless I get a strong inclination, what I would tend to do is I tend to just put a massive information out there. Because that's just the sort of person I am. So when I do my readings, what I tend to do if I was to do a Celtic cross is I put them all face up. Like that. I'm generally not one of those people that tends to like putting them down and going through it methodically, because my mind tends to, I like to incorporate the whole thing and see the whole thing. Some people like to really break the pieces down and will go, you know, one at a time, turning them up the other way. Going through like you've seen in the other video. The main thing with reversals, of course, is that you're thinking of it in terms of it's the opposite meaning, essentially. Some people I've known have actually said that if a reversal comes up, so if any of these come up as a reversal, like that one, then this card was not applicable. So this position, if this is the position of the Celtic cross, so if we think in terms of, if we remember these positions, let's ignore those for now. We've got the person, the question at hand, you know, the present, the future. This one was the reversed one, which is normally, you know, the overall situation, you know, behind essentially the question. That's upside down. So they would say that because it's upside down, that's the equivalent of a dud. So we ignore that. We ignore that. So, you know, some people will say if a card comes up in a reading that's upside down, this one, for example, was the only one that came up upside down, then we ignore it. Again, it's experimentation. You might not have heard of that one. There are a couple of people that do actually use them as duds. So it's like a misfire, if it were. If it comes up, it's a misfire. And if they had a couple of cards that came up that were, say, upside down, like that, then they'd say, oh, they're all upside down. That's a false spread. And that they would just start again. Okay, so that does add an extra interesting element, doesn't it, into it? The fact that obviously all of a sudden you've got cards which, well, they came up but they're not applicable, or you've got, well, this is a card that's reversed. And you're really, to be honest with you, you're going to have to work out what's best for you. What I tend to say is to keep things simple. You shouldn't be making your decks, your spreads more complicated. You should be making them less complicated. So you should be using less tools, less cards. Of course, you only use the tools if you need to. and you only put as many cards down as you need to you know, get the information at the end of the day. So there we go. Experiment with reversals and see what you get on with.